Hey guys, welcome back. On trying to seal this shaft a little bit. Once this is in the open position, right, like this, you can move it in and out. And that's causing the plate to wear prematurely. So at some point I do need to replace the bypass valve throttle plate, the butterfly valve that's in there, as well as at least this bearing. That bearing, I don't really care because it's capped at the end so it can't leak air. But this is causing an actual boost leak. When I am under boost, there is air coming out of this crack right here. So I need a new bearing with a seal on here. I am gonna hold off on doing that for a little while though, because I don't think that is my boost issue. The reason I'm on the hunt here is because I've seen this thing make 14 PSI. I've even seen it maybe make 14 and a half for a split second, but then it always, you know, the boost comes on like this. It comes on real strong, and then it dives down just a little bit and levels off at about 11. Now, I think the issue I'm actually having, check this out. See right down there? I thought that all of this was just regular dust. I think this is belt dust, because watch this. It's all black. You can see I've got a bunch of dust in here too. That's all pulley, or all belt. I'm thinking if we were to push this in about that much, it would just give it that little extra wrap on this end, because right here, it's pulling hard here, and it's just pulling straight down. And then it only has wrap from about here to here. So it's about 50%. That's, you know, not bad. But I think that if I could get this wrapped down to there and we could get this to more like 70%, I think it would be better. So I'm going to play with this a little bit here. I'm going to see if I can't get more wrap out of it just by tightening the tensioner. But I don't want to go too tight and mess up my alternator bearing either. Ideally, this would have a spring-loaded tensioner. I actually have one that I wanted to see if I could integrate into it. This is the 8-rib tensioner that the Mustangs would use. And unfortunately, there's just nowhere to mount it in there. I just don't have that much free space anywhere. If I were to redesign the entire system from the ground up, I'm sure I could incorporate that, but trying to put it in this late at the game, there's just nowhere to put it. I would have to make a whole bracket for like a plate for the front of the engine. And without that, it's very difficult. So I'm gonna see what I can do with a non-spring loaded first. All right, guys, I have got the little bump taken off of this bracket here. The bump itself was about here. And if I go this far, it might make the belt hit the intake, so I have to come out a little further and give it some more spacing. So wherever this goes, that is a good addition of belt wrap to give it a little bit more on that side, is where it's going to get welded in perfect alignment. And then when I take it off and finish welding it, it should be straight and not throw a belt. All right, guys, I'm going to show you what we're working with here. The plan is to try and get a bit more wrap here, but not so close that we hit the intake. I have ground down the back of this bolt until it was an appropriate height to give me the correct back spacing here. I actually could probably take a little more off of it. Yeah, I think I'm gonna. Just a little more. But we're gonna figure out how far in we want to come. That's obviously too far, because that's like on the intake almost. So I'm gonna have to play around with the tensioner a little bit. I may come back and take a little bit more paint off on this top edge here, because I do want this to be high up so that it chokes it up on the supercharger. by all rights, that should be tacked into place, perfectly level. What I'm gonna do is let that cool down. I'm gonna put the pulley on there, tighten the bolt up, recheck that it's straight with this pulley. And if it is, I'm gonna remove that bracket, finish welding that, check it again, and we should be good. Yesterday I threw this new idler pulley on there. This is the side that gets pulled on because the crank rotates clockwise. So it wants to move this clockwise. So it pulls this pulley that way. Before this idler was there, all it could do was pull straight down. Now it has a little additional wrap here. And when the crank pulls on this, it's pulling against this, giving it more leverage. The only issue I'm seeing with this is that my tensioner pulley used to be, if you can see where my finger is right now at the center of the bolt, it used to be about here in order for the belt to be tight. Now, with that said, I don't actually have any additional wrap. It's just that this isn't pulling straight down. By installing a longer belt on here, I'll be able to move the tensioner further in and it'll give me more wrap this way. And I'll have a tighter fit on the pulley. I got to remove this intake pipe right here to get the belt off. I've got a new belt that is one size larger and we're going to give that a shot. New belt. Let's check these. Oh my God, this is off by a mile. All right, well, Napa screwed up and this is not one size bigger. This is like 20 sizes bigger. I don't know what they did, but I'm gonna take this belt along with the new one that is like 1.5 feet longer instead of a 1/2 inch longer. So, back to Napa we go. All right guys, we got another belt here from Napa. Let's see if this one is any better. Alright guys, you can see we have got a pretty good amount of wrap there. I've still got a little more than 1/4 inch here between the pipe, and on this one I've got even more room. You can see we've still got plenty of tensioner left there. That'll deal with belt stretch, no problem. If I had to, I could put a longer bolt in that. And I could go all the way out to here if I wanted to, but I'd probably hit the intake pipe by the time I got there. So that's looking pretty good. That shouldn't slip anymore. It'd be ideal if I had a spring-loaded tensioner on there, but I don't. And this is what I've got. All right, guys, this is the first drive during the daylight right after doing that longer belt and the